10 Magic cards rated, day number 203. Are we ready? Are you? I think you clicked on the video. You're ready for Transmutation font here. This is 5 mana for an artifact. It's from the big score too, by the way. You can tap it and create your choice of a blood token, a clue token, or a food token. You can also pay 3 and tap it and sack 3 artifact tokens with different names. To search your library for an artifact card, put it on the table, Dad, and then shuffle. Do this only at sorcery speed. Boo! Like, I did all that work to get 3 differently named tokens and I have to do this at sorcery speed? You jerk. It's terrible. Card is neat, though. Obviously, there's more artifact tokens than just blood, clue, food. There's also map. You know, there's a junk, I guess, is a thing that exists. A treasure, right, obviously. So there's a bunch of different things you can sack. And at that point, this thing actually gets pretty neat if you have stuff you want to search up. And I'm pretty sure you do. That's why you built the deck the way you built it. So altogether, kind of a neat card. And at least taps to make your choice of one of these 3. So it's like tap. It's basically 2 tap, draw a card. Because one of the things it makes is a food token. Or 2 tap, gain 3 life. Because it makes a food. In the other case, it makes a clue. I don't know if I got those mixed up. So if you want to filter cards, make a blood token. You know, like doing that every turn is almost good enough. But as steep as 5 mana is to get this into play, being able to get anything you want with it the next turn is pretty dope. So let's just throw a 6.4 on this and kind of leave it at that. I think that the ability to tutor something to the battlefield multiple times in a game is probably 6-ish territory, right? So let's put that on there and keep moving to One-Eyed Scarecrow. I was going to make a very inappropriate joke. This is originally from Innistrad, and really only from Innistrad. 3 mana for a 2/3 artifact creature that's a Scarecrow. It also has Defender. Creatures with flying your opponent's control get -1/-0. That's what a Scarecrow should do. That's what every Scarecrow should just have that ability built in, shouldn't it? Or like creatures with flying your opponent's control can't attack. You know, that'd be another good one. But very few Scarecrows actually care about birds. It's very strange. Neat card here. I like the flavor, but obviously not amazing. Let's just give this a 3. I'll put a 3 on it. Elemental Appeal is up next from Zendikar and only Zendikar. This is 4 red mana for a sorcery with kicker 5 should you want to pay even more mana. Put a 7/1 red elemental creature token with trample and haste onto the battlefield. Exile at the beginning of the next end step. If Elemental Appeal was kicked, that creature gets +7/+0 until end of turn. So attempt at an OTK for 9 mana, I guess. Doesn't even put a different one into play. It's the same one. That's pretty funny. I guess a 14/1 trample, if they don't have specifically like, you know, go for the throat or literally any removal spell that does damage. Kind of a tall order there. The trample is going to deal a lot of damage to them regardless of like what they have in play. And if they do like have to gang tackle it to not take damage, then you just like destroy their board. So that's neat. But altogether, this is just not good. I hate to say it, you know, it's like a 4 mana ball lightning with an extra power. But that's really all it is. And that's not great. That's just not great. So cool looking card. I gotta say, a pretty cool looking card here. But I wasn't playing when Zendikar first happened. I was taking one of my like 2 breaks that I've taken when Zendikar came out. So I've not seen this card. Also means I believe I missed a lot of the original Landfall realm, which is really sad. Really very sad. But I don't think I was missing much by missing this one. I'll just give it a 3.1. I think it's cute. Cute goes a little ways with me. Ephara's Enlightenment from Born of the Gods and, third time this video, only the set that it was originally printed in. 3 mana, 1 a white and a blue for an aura that enchants a creature. When it ETBs, the creature gets a +1/+1 counter. Enchanted creature also has flying, and whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may snap Ephara's Enlightenment back to its owner's hand. Okay, so kind of cute. That's why it gives a counter, because you're going to be returning it to your hand, playing it on something else. That's kind of neat. +1/+1 in flying, huh? And potentially +2/+2 if you play it on the same guy more than once, technically. That's kind of cute. Altogether, though, I want to like this. Let me just say that. I want to like this because it can technically proc your Enchantress effects and your Eerie, your Constellation, all of those, more than once a turn, right? You know, play a creature, pop this back, play it again, Enchantress trigger, that's pretty neat. But is it actually that good? Is it? I will give this a 3.7 because I think there's like some playability in the Enchantments deck, which is real. It's got a good commander. But We'll move on to Gloom. We have done Gloom before. This is some art by Douglas Schuler. Mangara the Diplomat, good magic card here. It still fetches about $1. This is 4 mana, 3 and a white for a 2/4 legendary human cleric with lifelink. Whenever an opponent attacks with any creatures, if 2 or more of those creatures are attacking you and or planeswalkers you control, draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, draw a card. So a lot of card draw on Mangara. Just a generically good white card that draws you cards on multiple axes, man. I've just always really liked Mangara. Since the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, you're probably Commander playable. It was never really playable in Standard outside of sideboards. You'd see it every now and again. But not really very main deckable, right? But I still think it's a neat Commander. Well, I won't say that. It's probably not the best Commander. But within the 99 of a lot of just, I want to play generically powerful cards kind of decks, then I think it's at least worth like thinking of including. So good card here altogether. I'm going to give Mangara a 5.7 in there somewhere. I don't think it's going to see as much play as it saw like right when it first came out. I think it was like way more popular then, but still a pretty good magic card, Knight Rampager is up next from Warhammer. This is 5 mana, 4 and a red for a 6/5 Knight with Trample. It also has an ability called Frenzied Rampage, brother. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose an opponent at random. Rampager attacks that player if this combat if able. Okay. When Knight Rampager dies, it deals 4 damage to target opponent chosen at random. Big old random mess here. So 5 mana for a 6/5 Trample that you don't get to choose who it attacks. And also, it always has to attack. It basically attacks every single turn because of the way the ability is worded. And you don't get to choose who it attacks. And then when it dies, 4 damage to another person. Also, super random. What a bad card. What a not good magic card. 2.1 because it's doing something. It's going to hit somebody in the mouth. But Dustmourne House of Horror gave us Live or Die, our next card. This is 5 mana, 3 and 2 black for an instant. That's important. Choose one. Return target creature card from your yard to the battlefield, or destroy target creature. Pretty good art by Lorenzo Mastroianni here. I've always kind of liked it. The 4 months we've been able to look at the card, I thought it was cool art. I've played this in a bunch of decks, actually. Trying to make like Control Reanimator a thing, like a Draw-Go Reanimator deck with counter spells and stuff. And it turns out it's actually not terrible. We have Rite of the Moth, we have Zombify, and those are like turn 4 Reanimator effects. And typically, I think those are probably better for what we're mostly trying to do. Turn 4 Valgavoth is always going to be better than turn 5 Valgavoth, especially when you can't guarantee your 5th land drop as much as you can your 4th land drop. So these are things that do matter, but every time I've played Live or Die so far in Standard, I have actually kind of liked the results, like instant speed during your combat step. Throw a dude back into play is actually pretty good. And if you've already kind of achieved your reanimation and you got your Valgavoth locked in place, and sometimes you'll just use the removal mode, who cares? So, or if you've got another removal or reanimation spell in your hand, use the removal spell instead. So I kind of like this, and I'm going to give it a 4.3 thereabouts. We'll move on to Corruption of Towashi. Only ever printed in March of the Machine. This is 5 mana, 4 and a blue for an enchantment. When an ETBs, incubate 4. Whenever a permanent you control transforms, or a permanent enters the battlefield under your control transformed, you may draw a card. Do this only once per turn. So, I forgot this existed like at all. I really did. Like a transform payoff that lets you draw. That could actually be kind of neat in a couple of decks, like even outside of like, these incubator decks and stuff like that. It could be kind of nice. I don't hate this. I have a 5 mana thing that kind of gives you a 4/4. I mean, you have to pay 2 mana for the 4/4 after that. But you get to draw the card. I don't know, man. Something's calling my name about this. 5 mana is probably too much, but again, there's so many ways to transform stuff that like, you can draw in a fair number of ways on this, but I don't know. I'm not going to fall into the trap. I'm going to give this card a 3 and leave it at that. I do think there's some potential on it, though. Elvish Champion, baby. This is 3 mana, 1 and 2 green for a 2/2 elf. It's not even a lord anymore, just an elf. All elves get +1/+1 and habit a forest walk, son. This is the old invasion art from when it was first printed. And that invasion will run you $10. The cheapest copy of this card is $7.75 from 8th edition. You get this art. He's a beefy man. He's definitely not without his strong qualities. Don't get me wrong. I like the tree in the background too, but that invasion art, man. Even that seventh edition art is sick. It's awesome. But if you want the 7th edition foil, good luck paying the $133. But still, invasion, you get the thighs. Nothing wrong with that. So this is just an amazing anthem because people think it's just the anthem, but it's the Forest Walk. It's the Forest Walk, baby. Somebody at the table's playing Forest. Somebody. Other than you, somebody's playing Forest. So your elves are just unblockable against that person. That's kind of neat. Altogether, not the absolute best 3-mana elf anthem we've ever seen. There's maybe even a couple of creatures ahead of that, right? Arch Druid and whatnot. But one of the definitive ones that, despite all of its printing, still has not been printed enough at this point. So, and probably won't be printed too often apart from now because, they don't try to print land walk abilities much anymore. Just pretend they don't exist, even though they totally do. And this particular art gets the added bonus of kind of looking like Undyne from Undertale. Does it remind anybody else of Undyne from Undertale? It does for me. But either way, a pretty good package altogether here. Let's give Elvish Champion, one of the OG Anthem effects for elves, a 5.5. When I say 5.5, what I actually mean is just a 5. I'm just a 5.0 here for Elvish Champion. This is about where I want a card to be without being like super overpowered or anything, but still playable, right? Skyshroud Archer, another elf, oddly enough, is our final card of the day. A single green mana for a 1/1 elf. You can tap it to have a creature with flying get -1/-1 until end of turn. Not actually the worst ability in the world. This can do something from time to time. But only from time to time, not time after time. It will never be Cindy Lauper. This, I have to just throw like a pretty low score at. But I guess it's a green removal spell, so how bad could it be? This is like a 4. This is like a 3.9 is what this is. I imagine there's some flyers this does massive work again, but I'm sick of elves, and that took too quick. That was not a long enough video, so I think we can afford ourselves perhaps one of these. Just perhaps a bonus card, sir. A Barkweave Crusher. Another green card. This one only ever printed in Dominaria United. 4 mana, 3 and a green for a 2/5 elemental warrior with Enlist. Do you guys remember what Enlist does? It's still in standard. As this creature attacks, you may tap a non-attacking creature you control without summoning sickness. When you do, add its power to this creature's power until end of turn. So this is they somehow made this extremely hard to understand and proc through, like click the things through in Arena. I feel like every time I've tried to enlist a creature in Arena, it's been a confusing thing. Maybe I'm just an idiot, but it's just like it asks you whether or not you want to enlist or attack, and if you hit enlist, it should be as easy as clicking on a creature that you want to enlist, but it's not that easy for some reason. I don't understand the enlist ability on Arena, and I've like steered clear from playing the enlist ability for the reason that I don't want to get bogged down and clicking through the stuff the exact way it wants you to click through it. I'm telling you, I don't remember exactly how, but it is harder than it should be on Arena. Either way, this card's bad. It's a terrible bonus card. Maybe one of the worst we've ever seen, actually. I will give this a 1.3. It's just stinky, boy. So hopefully we'll do a little bit better tomorrow. We got Friday. And Friday's an important day for whatever reason. I'll see you guys then. Bye.